here, Dr. Judy, WTF, what the Freud? And the meaning of what the Freud is simply because Sigmund Freud, created a repetition principle theory. And I sort of play on those words because I notice that in life we keep repeating things ad nauseum if we don't close the psychological file, heal uh, our wounds of childhood, and evolve out of things that have kept us stuck for a long, long time. And one of the things that keep us stuck today is our addictions. And addictions are places that we go when we want to numb out. Addictions are the place we go when we want to, as I like to put it, fill the hole in the soul. And addictions are the place that we go whenever we want to actually connect. However, in tonight's discussion, we're going to be talking about the addiction to social media. And even though it seems like a connect, it is really not a connect. It's actually a disconnect. And this is a call-in show, everybody. 323-524-2599. And this is a very, very serious problem. I face this problem with myself as well. I notice that I tend to go into social media when I'm lonely, when I'm alone, when I'm bored, when I need stimulation. And I'm going to talk about my own personal experience with this, as I'm sure that it is not unsimilar to many people out there who are experiencing the same thing. So let me start by saying that when I get very tired, very bored, very lonely, my go-to addiction is social media. I try to go on social media to understand the news better and to learn from other professionals, whether they be doctors or sociologists or nutritionists or anybody that has anything intelligent to teach me. I like to eat that up. And even though it feels like a connection, which in some ways it is, because I am learning and I'm able to take some of the principles and pay it forward and put it into teachable context for my patients. In another way, it would be much healthier for and all of you to engage in life. And unfortunately, social media, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, any of those places that people go to, uh, it's so addicting. And the addictive quality, like a drug, feeds us a, feel-good drugs, dopamine, anything that uplifts us. The problem is, like any kind of high, once you get high, you also come crashing down. So today I'm going to mind map everything as I usually do. I would also like to hear from you, and I want to talk about one personal experience of mine, which really led me to do this show. And that's an experience that I'm having with my beloved grandson, who I adore to pieces, one of the most intelligent, interesting children that I have ever experienced. Even though he's my grandson, I'm a little partial, I know, but this truly is a very intelligent and unusual and creative kid. And over the years, I've just watched him go down the gaming tube. He's always on the cell phone. He's always on some sort of a game or show or social media, something. And it's very disconcerting because what happens over time is that wins over a relationship. And that's why I'm doing this show, is we cannot allow social media to substitute for human connection, because that's what makes it so easy for us to stay at home, not meet people, isolate, and then that goes with a whole slew of behaviors like sleeping in or eating too much or not exercising or not taking initiative to be creative. And basically, I look at social media when done wrong, and usually it is done overdone. meaning done wrong, as a soul sucker. Okay, so if you want all the life force sucked out of you by a screen, then you know what to do. And if you want to de-addict yourself from this, it's going to be very difficult because, like any drug, you've got to distance yourself from it, put boundaries, or simply cold turkey off of the drug. So, who wants to share a little bit about their experience with social media? And then I'll go back to my beloved grandson, who I didn't talk to for a whole month. Anybody want to call in and share a little bit about your experience with social media and whether it has enhanced your life or if it has made you more isolated, if it has taken you away from physical activity, social interaction, creativity, eating properly, sleeping properly. I really would like to hear from you because this is a worldwide problem. And I have a theory that the more disconnected we get and the more social media pulls us away from our humanity, the easier it is for us to disrespect each other. The easier it is to have no empathy or lower to no empathy. The easier it is for us to simply casualize life and really waste life. And so I would love to hear from you because there's so much beautiful life out there, and then there is so much life that we're simply wasting because we're talking. We're not even talking. We're just simply on posting or absorbing some story or on Twitter or on Instagram or something. How many hours people are doing this is actually, I haven't done the research on it, but okay, there's a question. Please go ahead.
Someone is asking what role dopamine plays in social media addiction and how it can impact our emotional well-being.
Yeah, absolutely. So dopamine is the feel-good drug. Dopamine is what hits our brain every time we have a reinforcer. So dopamine is always, if you're low on dopamine, you're tired, you're depressed, you're bored, then you want the little hit. So imagine, I remember back in college, I used to uh, take a psychology class that involved reinforcement of rats. And every time we gave them a food pellet, it was a little bit of a dopamine hit. They got excited. So they would keep pressing on the lever and pressing on the lever, not only because they were hungry, but because they liked the stimulation. And that stimulation gave them not only the food, but it gave them a dopamine hit, which made them do more and more of that behavior. So social media knows this. Las Vegas knows this. Any system that wants to increase their advertisement success, their sales success, their involvement in selling you something, because it boils down to that at the end of the day, doesn't it? They want to sell you something. Is going to be offering you dopamine hits. And same thing with food, sugar. Sugar is a great upper, isn't it? If you're feeling low, then get some candy bar, get some ice cream, get anything sweet, and pretty soon you'll be up there. However, the problem is pretty soon you'll be crashing as well. So, to answer your question, a huge dopamine hit, a huge dopamine hit with social media. And so once you get into that, you want more and more and more and more and more. So it's an endless cycle. I'm just looking here. I photographed a quote by Brene Brown, and she said it so well. I'm going to see if I can get to that quote. Of course, I scrolled way away from it, but I'll keep scrolling. But can you see how much life is wasted? And I want to ask you guys something. What would you be doing if you were not on social media? What would that be like for you? Who would you be talking to? What efforts would you make to get out of the house? What efforts would you make to be creative, maybe draw a picture or get involved with some kind of a woodworking craft or go to the gym or really anything. What kind of effort would you be making if you didn't have social media at fingertip access? I'm still scrolling for the quote. I'm so disappointed in myself because I'd photographed it and then I blew it by scrolling forward too far. Okay, so let's see. Here it is. Um, the internet is full of disconnected people who constantly betray themselves. All attempts to fit in exacerbate the feeling of disconnection. So remember, we're trying to fit in because we want to be connected, right? But this desperate need to fit in is actually doing the opposite, and it's making us feel more disconnected. Because whenever we try to get this sense of belonging in exchange for attention, we lose ourselves in the process. So I'm going to read that again. Whenever we try to get this sense of belonging in exchange for attention, we lose ourselves in the process. Okay, does that make sense? So if it's the attention we're getting and we're trying to fit in by talking a certain way, dressing a certain way, behaving in a certain way, what happens is that we're going in the direction of what we think is the popular thing, and we're getting further and further away from ourselves. The paradox is the more we need connection with others, the more alone and disconnected we feel. Well, I'm not going to completely agree with that because I think we do need connection with others, except that we need the right type of connection. And I'll get into that later in the show because I call that kind of connection synergy, not codependence, just simply synergy. There's only one way to feel connected with others, which is to connect to yourself. And I would also disagree with that because once we connect to ourselves, I think we also want to connect with the right others, not just connect with others, not just fit in with others, but actually connect with others. Brene Brown points out that fitting in is the opposite of true belonging, and that I think is very valid. If you just want to fit in, then who are you? Where are you? Where are you trying to fit? Is it an expression of being with like-minded people, or are you just acting as if you walk and talk and believe and belong just so that you can have the benefit of fitting in, or are you fitting in with others of like-minded philosophy? To me, that is the important thing, is like-minded philosophy. So let's go back to social media and human disconnect and the hole in the soul. And I want to start mind mapping everything. I will finish this quote by Brene Brown. Fitting in is the opposite of true belonging. She says, true belonging never asks us to change who we are. It demands that we be who we are. It demands that we be who we are. It doesn't ask us to change who we are. So if we're truly going to belong, then we need to belong to people who enhance our authenticity, people who enhance the betterment of our growth process. This is where we belong. True belonging is first and foremost a sensation of belonging to yourself. And let's start mind mapping because I'll show you on the mind map what is going on, and I'm going to reference what I refer to as the hole in the soul. So let's look at the mind map from the point of view of the darkness and the light. And let's look at it in terms of who we are and then who we're trying to become. And if we look at panel 1, we could see that it has the darkness and the light, and it's labeled wounds. So Who we are is the light, our authentic self, that which we want to develop, that which makes us wiser, that which makes us healthier, that which makes us more whole and complete. Okay, that's who we hopefully are becoming. And then there are those shadows, those spots that keep us from manifesting the best of our best. And from a childhood wounds perspective, many of you who've been studying my mind map understand that these wounds include verbal abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, control, smothering, narcissistic parents, and so on. And so let's look at that particular um, panel one through the eyes of social media. So let's say social media are those black dots that are trying to distract us, so to speak, from becoming the best of our best. Because why do they want to do that? Because they know we're vulnerable. Okay? They know that we're vulnerable. They know that they're going to play on our vulnerabilities. So they're going to play on our deficits. And then instead of trying to help us to heal our deficits, they're actually going to try to capitalize on our deficits and flash beautiful bodies and great hairstyles and amazing makeup and anything that is going to, again, be sellable, because that's really the point of social media is, let's not kid ourselves, it's to make money. They want your money. They want to, again, reinforce that you're not anything much, and that they're going to help you become more. And if you're feeling down, they're going to give you that dopamine hit so you can feel better. So if we go to panel number two, that represents our amygdala, or our reactions to the wounds. And we all are hurting on some level. So these reactions represent our need to fight, flee, or fawn, fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. And if we look at social media, there's plenty of fighting there. There's plenty of fawning and giving in. There's plenty of shutting down. And so they're capitalizing on this part of your amygdala, your part of your brain that is needing to, again, have that dopamine hit. So if you're frozen, if you're agitated, if you're aggravated, isn't it nice to self-soothe? And what could be better to self-soothe with after a long day of obnoxious telephone calls and bills arriving and people not coming through for you, and people demanding things of you and things not going your way, than to just kick back in bed and fall into social media. If you could see panel number two, it's sort of like a metaphor for broken glass, for being agitated, for opening up that wound. And what could be better than to soothe the wound with something, whether it be ice cream, sugar, uh, fast food, French fries, whatever it is. It all goes together. And I want people to understand that it's not just the social media, it's everything that goes with the social media, everything that goes with it, including the lifestyle of rotting in bed a lot, the lifestyle of not taking initiative and becoming more social, and getting out of our comfort zone. So I want to go to panel number three, because panel three is really where, thank you, panel three with the DNA strand. Yeah, there it is. So panel three is where everything gets encoded, and these encodings include our negative core beliefs about ourselves, negative core beliefs like we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we're not pretty enough. We're not successful enough. We're not creative enough. We're not healthy enough. We're not wise enough. Okay, and this is where social media can really grab us by the throat and activate our wounds and negative core beliefs and offer us so-called easy solutions. Well, just walk this way. Remember that song, walk this way, talk this way, eat this way, be this way, think this way. Okay, so if you have certain negative core beliefs and they hurt you, core beliefs like the not enoughs and the undervalued, and core beliefs that have to do with not feeling less than, then social media is a perfect way of activating and instigating your feeling less than. Because when you see those posts on Instagram and you see all those beautiful people who, of course, have spent hours and hours in front of a mirror or have had professional uh, photographs taken of themselves, or what are they called? Screens to screen out wrinkles and all of that. That's what we're really comparing ourselves to. And so if you feel any of those core beliefs from childhood, if you've been verbally abused, if you've been ignored and abandoned, then those core beliefs of I'm not valuable, I'm not lovable, I'm not beautiful, I'm not intelligent are going to be at the surface of your core belief system. And these social media triggers, so to speak, are going to activate you, and then down the rabbit hole you go, trying to search and search and search for ways to make yourself thinner or make yourself healthier or make yourself smarter or make yourself feel better, anything. And that's where it gets really, really dangerous, because there's not enough on social media or anything on social media that's going to make you a better person, other than you, again, back to knowing thyself and investing in thyself. There's nothing that's going to make you a better person except for you taking the time to self-reflect and self-correct and do the right thing and be the right person for yourself. And if you're vulnerable, then it's easy to become vulnerable to role models who are not people that are going to steer you in the right direction. Okay, so what happens now is you're vulnerable to your core beliefs, you're vulnerable to this hole in the soul, so to speak, that has been punched in you from early childhood, usually. Then you really start going downhill. And what do you have? Panel 4, 5, 6. So let's take a look at panels 4, 5, 6. Chaos, defenses, and breakdowns. So what is the chaos? The chaos is the chaos of your own life. It could be anything from financial chaos, health chaos, family chaos, any kind of chaos. And so when you're in chaos, you are grasping for information, grasping for straws, so to speak. So what do? You go on social media, and again, people are going to be offering up solutions, anything from more beautiful hair, thicker eyelashes and eyebrows, ways to conduct yourself so that you can more easily find a mate or a date, anything. They're going to grab your chaos, and as they grab your chaos, you're going to now be vulnerable to spending more money, taking the advice of people that you don't even know or haven't fully researched, and then down the tubes you go. And the more and more down the tubes you go, the deeper you're going to experience your angst, your pain, your amygdala, your distress. And the more you experience those things, the more you're going to go into your defense mechanisms. And this whole episode that I'm doing is really about the defense mechanism of social media. So now, instead of really elevating yourself and helping yourself to be healthier, be wiser, be more social, connect with human beings that are of quality, connect with growth partners, what are you doing? You're defending. What do you do to defend yourself? You turn on your cell phone, you turn on your computer, and there it goes again. And now you have just reinfected yourself. So I'm going to go back to my grandson because it traumatized me. It really did. Now, don't forget, I don't have full control over him because I'm not his parent. And I'll say that one of my less great strengths is that it's very hard for me to put boundaries on grandson. And one fine day, he was over at my house and he was playing on his computer. And I said to him, "Hey, Alexander, let's play chess. Let's read a story." "Not now, Grandma. When? Soon, Grandma, soon. Alexander, let's go out. Maybe we can see a movie." "Grandma, not now." "Alexander, now it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Don't you want to go out with Grandma? We can grab some of your favorite sushi." "Yeah, yeah, not now. Grandma, not now." "Hey, Grandma, can you bring the sushi home so we can eat it together?" "No, Alexander, no, we can't do that because we got to get out of the house." "Not now, Grandma." Well, this went on and on. I'm not kidding you. It must have been over 15 hours on the cell phone. And I got really, really tired and I got really, really frustrated. And I tried to grab the cell phone from his hands. And I'm telling you, I've never seen a reaction from an 11-and-a-half-year-old kid like this. I've actually seen it on video, but not in person. He started swearing at me. He started grabbing and pushing and all kinds of things. And I had to call his daddy to take him. And we didn't talk for 1 month. 1 month. So what does that tell you? This is a really great kid. This is a kid who, again, fun, humorous, intelligent. But what does this cell phone do? It offers him so much more dopamine than my silly story can. It offers him so much more drug than the game of chess. It offers him so much faster delivery. So this is what's so sad, and I'm sure some of you have experienced this, is that all of those good times of reading him books and playing games and Legos and drawing pictures and even having fun conversations, gone in substitute for, well, in his case, gaming and social media. So this is a big, big problem. So now I want to say a few things about if you are a parent. If you're a parent, please don't even start. Don't. Just, there are better things that your child can do with his or her time or you with your child's time than put a cell phone in the hands of your child. So please don't even expose it to them. I have another grandchild. She's only one, and she's not allowed to play on cell phone anyway. She's very young. But let me tell you this, whenever I answer my cell phone or play some music on the cell phone, it's like, oh, she is drawn to it. So I can already see the danger of the drug. So I just try not to show it to her. And if I do play a song for her uh, on my cell phone just to, have fun with music, I try not to let her see the picture, just to hear the music. So I've been profoundly influenced by this. I am working on myself so that I limit my cell phone usage. Um, Not to mention the fact that all of the rays, the harmful rays from your cell and your computer are not doing you any good at all. There are many experts now who say not to hold the cell phone to your ear because of the radioactive material. It's not smart to put your computer on your stomach because it could be affecting your ovaries or your testicles. It could be messing up your reproductive system, or, who knows, giving you cancer. So, on all levels, this is a human tragedy, just a human tragedy. And I, as a person very, very interested in healing human disconnect, um, I'm going to speak up on this matter because it's too strong. It's not, I couldn't even control my grandson. He loves me very much. I love him very much. We've since spoken about it. It's still hard because a drug is a drug is a drug. I know you like to think of drugs as alcohol or cigarettes or different types of drugs, but this is just as much of a drug. Is there anybody else that would like to share their experience or ask a question? And of course, you know that I prefer call-ins, so please call in. Let's get on top of this disaster of human disconnect. It's a disaster. Okay, go ahead.
Someone's asking if you think social media has changed the way people develop trust and intimacy in relationships, and kind of just whether it be like personal relationships or romantic ones.
I think that's absolutely so because there's so much distorted view of what sexuality is supposed to look like, or, everything. First of all, on social media, everything looks cleaned up and in perfect form, right? And so we can't reach those ideals. So, of course, it's going to make us feel like maybe we don't look right, or maybe we're not doing it right, or maybe we're not saying it right, or maybe we're just not right. So, again, going back to being our authentic selves, what is sexuality at the core is a connection between two people who desire to be intimate because they have enough in common and enough reasons to create a synergistic relationship. Okay, in my view, a romantic connection is a place where you can really bare your soul and where you can really trust the other person to be um, there with you in thick and thin, and have the maturity to talk things through and not just abandon each other. It takes a lot of integrity and a lot of, I think, wisdom to be in a right relationship. Anybody can be in a relationship, but the right relationship is supposed to be something evolving, something that has your back. So if you look at panel number 789, and that is where the paradigm shift happens and the healing and the balance occurs, you could see that there is no light when you merge yourself with social media. On the contrary, it saps your energy. It's like a narcissistic system. I talk a lot about narcissism. So, what is narcissism? A system gone wrong. where you feel drained and zapped, where somebody's getting the best of you, but you're not getting the best of you. And so social media is getting the best of you because uh, you're giving your time, your attention, your money, your yourself over to social media. What are you getting in return? Maybe some knowledge and information, I'll grant that, but not really any interconnection because there's no relationship to a social media um, person. There's no other end of this that's going to relate to you. So, one thing I do love about my show is that it is a call-in show. At least it's interactive, hopefully on some days more than others when people talk and engage and so on. But with social media, it's pretty much uh, a one-way street. So there's no growth, there's no synergy, there's no feeding of each other. And so it's a vampire system and not a light producing system. So there's not a lot of light in it. And so as your energy gets zapped, again, you need to go back and fill the hole in the soul over and over again. So it is self-perpetuating. It's not growth perpetuating, it's just perpetuating endlessly. So, I've done this. You crawl into bed and then you open up the social media, you start looking at Facebook, Instagram, this, that, and you're just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And have any one of you noticed how drained you feel after this? Have any one of you noticed how unnourished you feel? Have any one of you noticed how tired you get? Has anybody gotten a headache after scrolling for so many hours? Has anyone's moods changed after scrolling for so many hours? I certainly saw my grandson's mood change. That's not his authentic self. That's a child that's been vampired by drugs, specifically that dopamine that you were asking me earlier about, the dopamine hit over and over and over. And when you get a little bit of a dopamine hit, it's sort of like a spike and then it goes down. So you need a bigger hit to go back up. So you might even notice as you're scrolling, you want something even more dramatic or funnier or crazier or sicker or something. And then this affects our whole outlook uh, on the world. We want something more sensational. And this is not a good thing. Let's produce more trauma. Let's produce more drama. Let's produce more chaos, also that we can get our fix, our dopamine fix, any way that we can. So if you look at panel 789, that's more like what I was talking about, the authenticity, where you're growing, where you're with people that want to grow, where you're with people who want to create more light, where you're climbing the ladder together. If you look at panel number 8, the DNA strand is a metaphor for recoding your life. So instead of being manipulatable by social media, you are now the cause of the outcome of your life. You're no longer at the effect of what they're telling you is wrong with you and what you should do and how you should look and how you should think and how you should act. But now you're really making the effort to be around growth partners who are on the same wavelength, literally on the same path, and they want to evolve. A couple of shows that I've done, and you can look them up on evolution and devolution, and shows that show how to properly encode yourself into health rather than allow other people to take you down into chaos defenses and eventually breakdowns. Because you could see that as much as my grandson was having fun, there was nothing good in what he was doing. We have an amazing relationship, and why would anyone put a machine, a computer, a cell phone, anything in front of a human being. So, especially when you're around people, put your cell phones away because every time you touch that cell phone, and I'm guilty of this, and I'm also reminding myself of this, just put it away. There's nothing more important than the person in front of you. There's nothing more valuable in life than making a connection, a real human connection. So for those of you who are in a relationship, who have children, put your cell phone away and prioritize your family members and see what that does to your connection. And if you're a parent, absolutely set boundaries because if you don't set boundaries when they're little, uh, what I described with my grandson is going to happen. It's just a matter of time. So, does anybody want to ask questions, call in, comment? It's that serious of a problem. We have to keep on top of it. We can't let our brain be overtaken by social media. We cannot afford to be at the effect of life. That's why my book, Be the Cause, and go ahead and show a copy of Be the Cause, Healing Human Disconnect. This is an essential part of healing human disconnect is connecting to people, encoding yourself with human touch, human connection. And there go my dogs. I guess they agree. And so please be very, very, very mindful that you put your energy into people and not your gadgets. And please, especially when you're around people, put your gadgets away and make that extra effort. Another wise piece of advice is to keep your gadgets out of your bedroom. So if you're going to sleep, then make sure that your cell phone is in another area. And certainly don't wake up every few hours to check your phone or to check Facebook or whatever it is that you're doing, because again, it's interfering with quality sleep. And again, reminding you that along with this obsession with our gadgetry and our social media comes a very unhealthy, lazy lifestyle. So, everyone, please get away from it and understand that if you feel lonely and if you have a hole in the soul, then address the hole in the soul and don't fill it with drugs, sex, rock and roll, and social media. It's too powerful. You're not going to be able to control it once that dopamine takes charge. You want more and more and more, and the only way, unfortunately or fortunately, is just keep away, detox from it, and make it a habit of really connecting with human beings. Are there any more questions or thoughts in the chat room? Conversations? Anybody want to call in? I really believe that if we can get this right, we would just be more connected and social, and we wouldn't be suffering from loneliness and human disconnect. Imagine mothers who have given birth to their children. Imagine, even though the child can't really process, imagine being making a telephone or a social media a dopamine hit more important than just cuddling with your child or having eye-to-eye contact. That's what's the problem. We don't have this eye-to-eye contact, and so we're substituting out these electronics. So I hope you've learned something today. I have the book, Be the Cause, Healing Human Disconnect, that you can download. Just ask for a copy of it. Also, please note that I have my video, Healing from Narcissistic Abuse. You can actually do it yourself if you want, instead of taking therapy. You can buy the video. It's up on my website, Psychological Healing Center. And if you have a picture of it, it's called Healing from Narcissistic Abuse. That's the first video I did. And then the second one is the next video. I don't know if you have a picture of it. Healing from Narcissistic Abuse. But it's up there. That's it. Thank you very much. That's the one. I worked very hard on it, and it's chock full of information, addresses the hole in the soul that people have not yet healed, and the importance of healing that hole in the soul so that you don't fill it with things like drugs, sex, and rock and roll, including social media. And if anyone would like to contact me or the team, well, please feel free to do so, and be happy to discuss your individual situations so that I can get you the right help. So again, thank you very much, everyone, and I'll